Talks, a podcast where we share all our challenges and milestones, giving you our perspective as high achievers, entrepreneurs, and hopefully fantastic human beings.
Our goal is to empower and inspire others like us. Once a month, you will hear the stories from the superstar who are making their ways in this incredible world. Welcome from your hosts,
Cinzia, Dona,
and Sara Fiordi. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to our first episode. So today we're gonna share with you our story and who are your hosts, and we're gonna talk about our past experiences and what have led us to arrive where we are now.
And also a few things to let you know a little bit more about us.
Yeah. So just to start with, we're going to share this little story of how this first episode decided to start. Because, of course, we didn't know how to start this initial conversation, basically. Therefore, we thought about picking a card.
Yes, we literally asked to the card, okay, please guide us how we should start this podcast.
Yeah, and we put all the card on the floor, and as you usually do, we really listen to our energy and what card was driving us and was calling us. So we draw this card, and it's saying,
do something different.
well, all right. So I don't know. We're gonna do a little dance maybe to start. Something different.
This has been our something different.
Yeah, that's it. So in today's episodes, we really wanted to share with you who we are and the fact that. So when we initially thought about this topic, I think the first question that we asked ourselves is, who am I? So thinking about this question, which is very interesting, we noticed that whenever you ask this question to yourself, you would share your name, you would share probably your profession, where you were born, and all these things, which in fact they actually don't define who you are. So whenever another person listens to you with this introduction, they will probably think, okay, I can probably have a little bit of an overview of what this person does daily and what was this person past, but this actually doesn't define who you really are. So let's be authentic and let's start sharing who we really are. So Sara, who are you?
That's a very big question. Thank you, Cinzia, for asking that. I'm super happy to be the first. To be your first in this podcast. And okay, who am I? Who am I? Okay, well, that's definitely not a simple question to answer because, as you just shared, we tend to define ourselves with our job, and I definitely have done that many times, and or with things that we have or things that we do. But if I can answer to you to this question in an authentic way, I will say I am a human being that tries to do her best every single day. And this is started when I was a kid, that I tried to be a kid that I wanted to be in every day of my life. Even when I was picking, the toy that I wanted to play, the friend that I wanted to have, I was trying to be who I am. And that's the same thing that I'm trying to do right now in my daily life. And to share a little bit more about my story. So why I'm here today with you doing this podcast together. Ooh. Of course, there is a lot to say, but to be briefly and share a little bit about me, my story starts with books and writing. So writing and reading, it has been my passion since I was a little kid. And I actually wrote a book when I was 12. And it's in Italian, So it's not in English and it's in Italy. And my mom published that book when I was 14.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's like a very little book where I was simply writing about my daily life.
Okay.
Nothing more.
So it's a kind of journal sort of thing.
It's a kind of journal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the perfect definition. Like a kind of journal where I was simply writing my daily life.
Oh, that's amazing. What's the title?
The title is in Italian, and it was like La piccola Sara.
Oh my God,
Like
I love
in
it.
English, like the little Sara.
I love it.
And it was a journal pretty much about my daily life. So my writing and reading, it was already there. So it was something that I loved it already when I was a teenager. And that passion remained there always with me. So I can, when you ask me that question, like, who am I? That's what come up in my mind straight away, because that's how I love to remind myself, because that little girl, the little Sara, it's still here today.
Okay.
So I definitely see that version of myself as the same version of me today, of course, in an adult version.
So I actually already have a very interesting question for yourself.
Go ahead. Go for it.
When you decided that you were going to write that book, what was your inspiration? What was the reason why you wrote it?
It was because at that time, probably pretty normal for a 12 years old girl, I didn't know how to express my emotion. So the writing, it was the way for me of expressing my emotion. And it's something that I still do today, absolutely.
Yeah.
By that time, it was, how can I express how I feel? I don't even know how I feel. But if I'm writing, maybe it would be easier.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I started.
Yeah.
To write it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how did you feel about it when your mom decided to publish it?
So my mom, that's the part of the story. So thank you for this question. My mom didn't tell me.
Oh my God.
So she just found it.
Okay.
And she found it cool, for a little girl to writing a diary and everything. And she did it as a gift. So she finds someone to publish the book for me.
Yeah.
Of course, that in that case you pay for it. And then for Christmas, I opened my Christmas present and was my book inside. And I asked my mom what it is. Mi fa, how come? Can you don't even recognize what it is? If I know what it is my book. So and I still have it in Italy, of course, a copy of it. And it was a beautiful surprise. So I didn't know it was a surprise.
Oh my God, that's so nice.
Yes, and definitely really connected with what you ask me. So it's still there. We lose sometimes our child inside of us, but if you want to know about who we are, coming back to our childhood, the things that we love to do, and the fun that we had when we're doing certain things, it says so much about who we are.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I can definitely still feel it, because I still love those things. Writing, reading, it's part of my daily life.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, well, such a beautiful memories, actually.
Yeah,
yeah,
I can imagine.
And what else? Well, who am I? It's such a I don't know if the people that are listening to us feeling the same right now when we're talking, but is
because this is also still part of your story. But if you would have to describe you as a human being, how would you describe yourself? Maybe maybe you can talk a little bit about your personality.
Yeah. Okay. My personality, definitely high achiever. High achiever, I would say, an high achiever, very active person. So it's very difficult for me to, something that I'm trying to learn right now, to be more present in the moment. And it's very difficult for me to stay on the couch and do nothing. So very active person, an achiever, positive, and try to see positivity in everything that I do. And even in other people, I try to always see positivity in them. And I like spend time with people that I really care about, people that are like-minded women or like-minded men, so I can have beautiful conversation with them. I love food. Everything that is connected with food, sharing, and connecting, it's part of who I am and my personality as well. Okay, so high achiever, high energy. I'm thinking about also my archetype right now. So I care a lot about others. Sometimes I put other first and myself after. So this is something also that make me like an available person. Like if you need my help, it's very difficult for me, considering my personality, say no to you, especially if I care about you. I can just forget about my stuff and help you first if you really need my help. So that's also define a little bit my personality. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And if you have to think about your story and what happened in your past, instead focusing on the here and now, what are you doing in your life?
Okay, so if I think about my past and my story, okay, and what I'm doing right now. Well, I can see a lot of similarity from the person that I was and the person that I am today, right now, here with you. But also I can see a very different person as well at the same time. And I can see me now more connected with my truly self, with the person that I want to be, more aware.
Yeah. Absolutely.
More present in the moment. When I was more young, I was like rushing and don't really think about what I was doing, and whatever, I will think about that tomorrow. So now I'm definitely not that kind of person anymore. But I'm also learning to don't overthink about the future, but also try to enjoy the present moment.
Isn't it really interesting how at the end of the day, each one of us, I think like at our core, we will stay the same person as our inner child. So of course our actual core is going to be the same, but we constantly change. And within our life, of course, we grow, we develop, and we do many different things that lead us to become a different person. But this is something that happened to me, well, last week, in fact, because last week it was my partner's birthday, and I was writing the card of birthday wishes for him. And I don't know, and I had like one of my moments where I realized something. And writing these wishes, basically I thought about the fact that usually, like on birthday wishes especially, we always write, oh, you should never change, be always the same, you're perfect as you are. Or something like that. And and I did it. In fact, I wrote to him, I wish you to change a lot.
I love it.
But actually in a way that, of course, he knows that I'm doing a lot of self-development, and I'm very aware of this change in your life that it's constantly happening, and it's a good thing. So you should embrace change. And therefore I wrote this to him, but it was actually funny to realize this thing. So yeah.
Like I can see a very a connection with the card that we picked in the beginning, right? Do something different, right?
Yeah, very true, very true.
It's a still there, and I totally agree. And it is connected with what we are just sharing about who we are. And we tend to say things and do things because
to meet other people's expectations,
and everybody told us that it's supposed to be like that.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Who say that it's supposed to be like that?
Yeah,
we just need to embrace more who we truly are and stop asking questions that actually we don't even care about the answers sometimes. Like, how are you? How many times we ask how are you to someone, but I mean,
do you really care? And if I think like well, this is like probably a topic for a different podcast, because
I think so.
Sara and I, we share the experience of moving abroad from a different culture, of course. And I feel that in our culture, usually you don't ask how are you if you're not ready to listen
Yeah.
how the other person really is feeling? While in here, everyone is just asking, how you going, mate?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even reply to you when you say,
You know, exactly.
I'm good. What
So
about you?
rude. So rude.
You just asked me, so I expect you to answer
I
to me,
know.
but it's fine. We respect every culture.
Okay.
We are here in this land and blessed Australia. But absolutely, well,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I totally feel
Let's
that
come
as
back
well.
where we are, because me and Cinzia, we can definitely go
Oh, yeah,
so far.
definitely.
But not today. Not
Yeah.
today.
So I have another question for whoever is listening to us today
Mm.
and doesn't know you yet. What are you doing in life?
Ooh. You mean in when I will become an adult, or you mean right now?
No, I mean right now as a job, as your
Okay.
inspiration and as your
So
career.
my job, I am a business and confidence coach,
Mhm.
and what I do is helping other women with their business, but not just with their business, also with themselves. So to live their best life, be in alignment with the person they want to be, and the consequences of that, having the business they really want to have, not because it's supposed to be in the way they think they're supposed to be, but if it's not in alignment with their energy and with they want, the business is not going to be there. And help them to see, as we discussed in this podcast before, not identify themselves with their business.
Yeah, yeah,
and keep them separate. So
yeah.
yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Well, I guess I'm gonna share who am I.
Yes, now it's your turn. Now it's your turn.
All right, all right. So who am I? Oh well, I don't know. Well, I'm a woman, of course. And
Really?
yeah, I think so. I think last time I checked.
Not sure about it, guys. Not sure.
Yeah, but who am I? So I think, well, if I would have to describe my personality, I'm a very bubbly and energetic kind of person. I'm always very positive, and I always try to see the bright side out of situations. Something that brings me a lot of joy is helping other people in also seeing the bright side of situation, and also always seeing the positive things, the most I don't know, like without actually seeing the evil about some kind of situations as well, even if I'm very aware that sometimes that's not the case.
That's true.
What else? Well, I'm also not moody, but I also have a lot of ups and downs within my personality. So some days you would probably talk to me, and I'm this very, I don't know, bubbly and positive person. And maybe the next day, especially if it's actually raining, I would be the most sad person in the world. I'm probably crying on the couch, eating gelato.
Don't book a coffee with Cinzia during a raining day.
Yeah, I think I'm probably like a little bit metapathic, which it actually comes from my dad. So my dad is also
Okay.
very affected from the weather as well.
Hmm.
So I feel that affects me a lot, which is probably the reason why I moved to Australia.
Super far away.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
exactly. Also because it's very sunny in here. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I think if I would have to describe my personality, that's who I am. And well, my past story.
Yeah, I was asking that because you share about your dad now. So share a little bit about your story. What bring you here?
Who? All right, all right. Well, where do I start? Let's start from the very beginning. Well, I grew up in Italy, in Venice specifically, and I grew up in a family where I was always very supported with whatever I wanted to do and whatever I liked. So I was be very, very lucky to be able to basically live the best life as a kid, where my mom always supported everything I wanted to do. And of course, growing up and knowing that I changed my mind very often. That wasn't probably the best thing to do. So I experimented pretty much everything as a kid. I started playing guitar, I started playing piano, I did swimming, I did dancing, I did volleyball. Yeah, anyway.
Everything.
Anyway, and of course, when you first start, you're always very super passionate and become a little bit addicted to that hobby that you might have had in that specific moment of your life, but then that was like fading off quite easily as well. So yeah,
You don't know what you like until you do it, right?
absolutely. And then after that, well, I think it's worth sharing the fact that something that instead kept consistent in my life was my passion for design. So this is actually a very interesting story, because even when I graduated in industrial design, I shared this story with everyone who was present there, and I think like it was very powerful, because since I was a little kid, I actually always knew I wanted to become a designer.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I still remember, like, you know, when you're in primary school and the teacher asks you like, when you grow up, what do you want to become? Like, what actually, not who you want to be, yeah, but what career do you want to start? Do you want to pursue?
Yeah.
And I could already envision myself being a furniture designer.
That's great.
Which was, yeah, it was pretty weird, because actually I think my mom still have that drawing where I picture myself designing couches. So
Wow.
I know that was very specific. So very interesting,
So
very
you are
interesting.
the one of the few people remaining in the heart that already knew it, what they wanted to do when they were a kid.
Yeah, and then life changed during my life. I was like, I wanted to become something else, and I did many other different things within my life. But I think eventually,
Eventually.
eventually I got there. So
And
yeah.
why you are, now that you are talking about design, I would love to ask you. So at this point, what do you do, Cinzia?
Right, what do I do? This is a very difficult question, actually, probably more difficult than who am I? Because I do many different things at the moment. Well, I am a designer, and I have my own business, which is Cinzia Dona Design Studio. And my proposition is to design very high-end and luxe furniture and accessories with a very iconic style and look, which is very bold, speaking about yeah, very iconic and daring designs, but with a real focus on sustainability and exploring new technologies and new ways of manufacturing, such, for example, 3D printing. And yeah, and exploring really this pioneer space in the design field.
Amazing.
Other than this, I also have other two side businesses. One of them is called Aura Luna, where me and my business partner Yole, we design products for the soul. So at the moment we launched the Bring Up line, because it's not really a makeup line, because you don't need to make up your beauty. And at the moment we are going to launch a few different products as well, but that's
Exciting.
yeah. And another business I have, I also, which is like this Aura Luna, it's also about design, in fact, because you're still designing products and all
Exactly.
these sort of things. And the other business is still product design, but more focused on camping and outdoor gears. So yeah.
So you made it in the end.
I did. So yeah, I should
You
be
made
very
it.
proud of myself.
And what you will say that was like a turning point in your life? So if I can ask you this question, and if you think about your journey until where you are right now, here with us,
Wow.
which one was your turning point in your life? The most biggest one?
Yeah. I think possibly I do know this answer, and of course, like there are many different points in each own life where it's actually like a turning point.
Mm.
Of course, one of them was when I moved to Australia.
Mm.
But if I were to think about the exact moment where my life changed, it was actually so. It was 2015. I was
Okay.
already I was already living here in Australia, and I was working in a cafe, and I was asking myself what my passion were, and what my future was gonna be, and all these kind of things. And I was already living with my partner back then,
Okay.
so like we already had a quite stable relationship,
Yeah.
and all these kind of things. And I realized the fact that I was missing something. I was missing following my dreams, basically, which were, of course, connected with design.
Yeah.
And I was having this conversation with him, and he could also see that I wasn't like in the happiest moment of my life. I wasn't very fulfilled my job. I wasn't very fulfilled my life in general.
Yeah.
So he actually told me, well, if you really love design, you should go back and study. You should go to university and do it.
Wow.
And in that moment, I was full of fear, and I was like, oh no, I can't, because I need to work. I need to follow my job. I need to work 40 hours per week, and all these kind of things. And even I'm too old now to go to university, and all these kind of beliefs that everyone has. It's gonna be too hard. It's like in a different country, and all these kind of things. I would never be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then I think the biggest fear I had was actually around money back then,
Okay.
because I thought I couldn't afford it, especially because, well, university in Australia is quite expensive,
Very expensive.
especially if you are an overseas student.
Yeah.
Because back then I was here with a working holiday visa, so I was on a visa, so it was going to be very expensive. But basically, well, he just told me, well, you don't know. Why don't you find out? And I was like, yeah, okay. So I found out the price of it. And I was like, all right, actually, because, well, indeed, even if I was still on a visa, because he had the sponsorship back then.
Okay.
Yeah. The law back then was that if I was just the partner of a sponsor visa, I would have paid local student fee.
All right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the fee was not going to be like the crazy student visa sort of fee. So that was already a good news.
How beautiful.
So I was like, all right, that's a good news. Okay, how much it is? And then after I knew the price, I was still like, oh no, this is too expensive. I will never be able to afford it. I still need to work like my full-time job and blah, 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 blah.
Yes. Yes.
And actually my boyfriend sat down with me and was like, well, if you divide this in a 6 month period, and then if you actually plan it out, and if you think about it, this is the actual amount of money that it will cost you per week. Can we afford it? We could. So I was like, all right, yeah, you are probably correct.
Yeah.
So
And that's beautiful what
yeah.
you say, because think about how many people we make in our mind a decision before we even know
The actual answer.
the actual answer. So this
Yeah.
is the brain, right? So
Mm.
we say, no, I can't do that like you did in that time. I cannot afford it, but you didn't know how much it would costing you.
Yeah.
And if we actually create solution and we are focused on the solution instead of the problems,
Mm.
how many things maybe we can do that we don't even realize that we can do
Mm.
if we stop for a second and we reflect.
Yeah.
This is really important for me. Even if I don't have the money right now, let me find out
Mm.
what can I do. Let me think about the solution, and actually the solution were there. Because what did you
Yeah.
done after?
Yeah, in fact, after that, I decided to start a course, and I decided to restart my studies. So, yeah,
Oh, love it. I love it.
awesome.
Thank you for sharing. And it was incredible knowing, why you are here and how this has happened to you,
How everything started.
how everything
Yeah,
started.
yeah,
So, yeah,
absolutely,
love it.
absolutely. All right. Well, let's start sharing some interesting things about
Mhm.
us.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mm.
Sara.
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Why don't you tell us one of the funniest moments that happened in your life?
All right. Well, everybody is ready. I had 9 years old. I was working on a street with my mom. And if you haven't been in Italy, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, so in Italy, on the street, we have those beans. They are literally fly in the air because they are not on the floor. They are in the air, right? So it's difficult to notice that sometimes. No, actually, it's not that difficult to notice that. But when you are a 9 years old girl, probably it is. So I was walking with my mom, and I definitely didn't see the bean, and I smashed my face into the bean.
Oh my god.
But the funniest things of everything that it wasn't funny for me that day. Believe me, it wasn't. But I was in pain, and my mom was laughing, completely laughing at me, and all the people in the street, nobody stopped it and asked me, how are you? Do you need any help?
God.
Everybody was laughing.
That's awful.
I know.
So rude from everyone.
So rude from everybody. But I remember me, guys, it's painful. Someone can help me. 9 years old. And everybody laughing at me. I don't know what they find is so funny, but I'm telling you this story. Maybe you can tell us why this is funny. But it was definitely a funniest moment of my life. Realized that everybody
Actually,
was laughing, and I wasn't laughing.
actually, I have an interesting answer for you.
Okay.
I know why this is funny. This is actually something that I learned during an art class, indeed. But
Okay.
anyway, because yeah, my lecturer back then was sharing the reason why people find this kind of situation funny.
Okay.
And it's actually it's actually a psychological response of your
Okay.
brain about the fact that if something quite bad happened to another person, it's not happening to you. That's true. That's the truth, actually. So I think like it has something to do maybe with like how you call it, like with percentages of possibilities of
Yeah.
things to happen at the same time.
All right.
So if you're seeing another person, like this is also the reason why people find funny, like when someone is sleeping on a banana or something like that.
Okay.
You know?
Very similar to that. Absolutely. I can feel resonate with them.
Yeah. So actually, people find that funny because in that moment it's not happening to them. Therefore,
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen to them either,
Yeah.
and they're happy about it, and that's why they're actually laughing.
Well, you solve a trauma that I had for the past how many years? 22 years of my life.
You
So
know.
thank you. I wish I knew that
You know.
before, especially in that moment. But yeah, now we all know if someone laugh at you, if you smash your face in the bin, you know why. You
Yeah.
know why. And what about you? Tell us the funniest things that happened to you.
I have a really, really funny moment as well,
I'm
actually.
looking forward for it.
So, all right. By the way, I'm actually not that stupid, but
Don't save yourself in a
right,
corner,
right,
right?
right. Okay. So, I was probably around 17 years old or something like that.
Mhm.
So I was already a grown up kind of thing, but like, yeah, I wasn't a kid, let's put it this way. And it was very early in the morning. It was probably about 7:30, something like that. And I was getting ready for a job interview.
All right.
So it was probably the first job interview I was doing in my life or something like that. Anyway, because I wanted to make a good impression,
Of course.
of course, I wanted to print my resume. So I wanted to have a printed version of my CV because I sent it to them before, but I didn't have a printed version. And the same morning, I thought, actually, this is gonna make me look smart. Cool.
Let's see.
Cool. Right. So turn on the computer and bear in mind that back then I was totally not a technological person. So like I didn't really know how the computer was working and like I was struggling a lot with technology stuff like that. So anyway, like I turned on the computer, open my CV and have a look and press print. And it's not working. The computer decided that like it was not gonna print my CV. So I started panicking. And I was like, oh my God, why this is not working? So I was trying and couldn't figure it out. Anyway, I have a brother who was
Hi, brother.
who was much more into technology than me, still is indeed. Um, and therefore I went to him. I was desperate, of course, because I was already late to go to this interview, and I went to my brother, Leandro, please wake up. Of course, it was 7:30 in the morning, so you can imagine
That he wasn't awake.
He was loving me in that moment. It's like, Leandro, please wake up, help me. You have to help me out printing out this CV. And he was sleeping. I was like, what the hell do you want from my life? Leave me alone. So I was like, okay. So I went to try and like went back to try print this thing, but it was still not working and I couldn't figure it out. And I started really panicking. So I actually started crying because because I was gonna be late to this freaking interview. So anyway, I went back to my brother in tears.
Desperate.
Like desperate, the most desperate person in the world. And I was like, please, and I was shaking him off, like off the bed. Please wake up, please, I need your help. Please help me printing out this. The printer is not working and I can't figure it out. So in that moment, with the most phlegmatic attitude, he was like, Cinzia, did you turn the printer on? In fact, I didn't. The printer was off.
End of the story.
And that was the reason why the printer wasn't working. Yep. So I had a real blonde moment back then. And yeah, end of the story.
That say a lot about Cinzia.
Yep.
Do you still do it? I'm curious.
I think now I really check if like all the technology I have at hand are turned on. That's actually the reason why I was looking for the button on and off on the microphone.
Oh yes,
as well.
oh
You
yes,
remember?
yes. I remember that you asked me, but the button of the mic, that the
How do you
microphone
turn it
have
on?
the button to turn on? I'm not too sure about
Let's
it.
ensure it's turned on. Yeah, this was
Yeah,
the
but
reason
see,
why.
this is a lesson, right? I can see a lesson in this funny story
that's it.
to
That's it.
check if the technology is on before overthinking and make up a story in our brain.
Yeah, and before panicking that something is not working.
And wake up a
Yeah.
brother that it's a dreaming and sleepy quietly in 7:30 in the morning.
That's
another-
okay, like you can still wake him up.
Amazing.
Love you, bro.
Yeah, she loves you. And well, shall we share how we met at this point?
I think so.
So Cinzia and I, we met in a very, I think, in a funny way, but also we find out that we actually have a lot of things in common. So
In
probably
fact, this is scary.
this is very scary. So we actually just discovered like an hour ago that we both love baking cakes. And it was incredible because she showed me the picture of their cakes and I showed the picture of my cakes and they look also very similar. So
Sara used to be a pastry chef, by the
Yes.
way, guys.
I used to, yeah. I can still bake a cake, but yes,
I'm
I
still
used
in
to.
shock.
We literally just discovered that before starting our podcast today. So this is incredible. But anyway, to come back on track, me and Cinzia, we met, I think, on Facebook first.
I think
And
so, yeah.
then Cinzia came in one of my workshops.
Mm.
And we had a beautiful connection there straight away.
Actually, yeah, I feel like this story is very powerful not to be shared. And
Yeah,
in fact,
it is.
yeah, the first time we met in person, it was at this workshop where Sara shared this technique of connecting with other human beings. And basically, it's called eye gazing. And yeah, and well, during the workshop, there were, I can't remember how many people were there, about 30 probably, something like that.
Yeah, it was like a quite large number.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, you had to go around and walk randomly, and then at a certain point, you were gonna stop and eye gazing with someone.
Yeah.
And randomly, Sarah and I were already in front of each other, so we started looking at each other in the eyes.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ.
He was awesome.
Yeah. And in fact, I did share with Sara this on the same day as well, which I thought it was, I don't know, it was so kind of emotional as well for me to look at her in the eyes, because she really reminded my grandmother eyes and the connection I had with her, which, by the way, like, she was my main point of inspiration in my life, and she really helped me, like, being the kind of role model to become the person I am today. And we used to have a very similar personality. We used to be pretty much the same, especially when she was at a younger age. So yeah, so that was
how special.
Yeah.
I feel it's beautiful to share these, and it's nice because we yeah, of course we talk about this, but actually the way that we do right now, I think is the first time that we talk about that experience in this way, how important it was for us, and it was a very strong connection. I remember because I did eye gazing many times and it's always different. But with Cinzia I saw a woman that she was brave enough to don't look around, but actually look in my eyes, and we were laughing. And it never happened to me. Usually people start to be very serious in the eye gazing, very intimidating, and we were laughing. And it was very strong connection, and everything started after that because actually we connected really after a few months. Not straight away. Then
that's true, actually.
Yeah, we connected after. So we messaged each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we supposed to catch up, and then we didn't do it, and then we did. We actually catch up in Cinzia's house for the first time with my partner and her partner.
Yeah,
and
we organized a
had
dinner together.
A beautiful dinner together, and she was very welcome to invite me and my boyfriend in her place. And she didn't really know me, so it was like, oh my gosh, she's so nice. This
Okay.
human being still exists in the world. And it was a beautiful dinner. And that's how actually
I
the
know.
podcast starts.
Yeah, and in fact, we decided that was crazy. So on the first day we met, basically, we discovered that we had God knows how many things in common. Like every time we talk, I feel like we are actually the same person in like a different body.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, because yeah, it is. Anyway, it's okay. But yeah, and that night we were talking about our life goals, what drive us, and what were our dreams, and all these kind of things. And of course, because both of us were very organized.
Extremely organized.
And we like to plan ahead, we like to write down our goals, achieve them, and all these sort of things. Apparently both of us we write New Year's resolutions. And it was actually, did we met?
It was
It was
before.
December, or like was it January?
It was.
It was before.
It was before the end of the year.
I think so. Yeah. So we were talking
Yeah.
about like what we had in mind for the next year
Yeah.
resolutions for 2022, and one of the resolution of 2021 that we both had and we had in mind, but we didn't deliver it, we didn't achieve it, was to start a podcast.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why we're doing
Yeah.
it.
And I had to share this because it was super funny. We were on the table. I remember that we were on your table sitting having dinner.
Yeah.
And you were just talking about our Luna and all your project. And then I say like, I also want to start a podcast, but I haven't done it in this 2021 because I didn't have time. And Cinzia say, wait, I want to do a podcast too. Shall we do it? And this was the first time that I actually sit down in the table with her. So it was like the first time really starting to know about this person. And she said, shall we do it? Yes. And my answer was, yes, of course. Shall we plan it already when we catch up? And that's why we are here. So after
3 months,
after
actually.
3
So
months.
it took us a while. This is surprising.
Yeah, it took a while, actually, considering our type of high achiever energy. But yes, after 3 months, we are here together
That's true.
doing our podcast.
That's true. I think it's actually because, of course, we do like to plan things ahead.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And to let you know maybe a little bit more how this podcast will work. So we're going to register one episode a month during the full moon.
Yeah,
the name
exactly.
of the podcast, and we will share with you everything that it's happening to us, challenges, inspiration, personal development, everything is gonna be there.
Yeah, so we hope to really bring you joy and laugh, but also a lot of inspiration.
Yes.
And possibly being sort of models for you as well, if you feel the same way we are feeling most of the time. Because of course it's never easy to face challenges, and we both feel we're living a very challenging life with all our propositions and goals and things we want to achieve. So yeah, that's what we hope to do for you.
Absolutely. Inspiration and learning and a lot of laugh, a lot of craziness, as much as we can. And I have a question for you, Cinzia, before we close. How shall we close the podcast?
Oh, how shall we close the podcast? I don't know. Well, let's close it with. Shall we do a little dance?
Let's have a little dance. And
no, shall we close it with possibly with an inspirational quote or something like that?
Okay. Yeah, shall we do that? Okay. Which inspirational quote?
I didn't think about this. Well, actually, we did have some inspirational quotes indeed. It was a question I wanted to ask you in this podcast. Okay. And the
Yeah.
question is, what would be 3 things that you would say to your younger self?
Drink more vodka.
I love it.
Drink more vodka and have a vodka in your fridge always.
Or Baileys, or gin, or whatever you like. Well, awesome. We hope you really had fun listening to our story and the reasons why we became whoever we are today. And we hope to see you at the next episode.
Thank you, everybody, and let us know what you're thinking about this episode. We're looking forward for the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
If you feel aligned with our vibes and our way of overcoming big or small obstacles, subscribe to our channel.
And if you like to personally connect or discover more of what we do in our business, check out our website, share it in the podcast description.